Hello everybody and welcome back to Engineering Graphics. So today we're going to be learning about a magical, mystical, and incredible tool called Sweep, which does not honestly sound all that interesting, but it is interesting. Now, if we're going to recap what we learned so far. So far we have revolve, it goes in a circle. We have boss base, it goes in a straight line. And recently we learned about reference geometry. It's like, okay, I need a new place to draw. But what do you do if the shape you want to go on doesn't have a straight line at all? Like for example, I have a little project I've been working on. If I can get it unplugged. So Arduino can. Hopefully it'll be on my 3D printer sometime in the future. Either way, if you look at it, most of these things you can model in Solidworks using the tools we have so far. Little square shapes over here, lots of little circles and cylinders. Not too bad. The thing you probably can't figure out how to do is how in the world do I do this chord right here or right here? How do I make that in SolidWorks? Because that is not following a perfect circle. It's not following a straight line. It is something way in between. So today we're going to learn about that. And that is where Sweep comes in. So let's jump right into it. Now Sweep is different, okay? Sweep actually requires two sketches sometimes to make it work. The first sketch is going to be the path, okay? And I'm just going to make the path crazy using this spline. In real life, you would have dimensions and you would know which direction it's going. Okay, this is my path. Now what Sweep does is it says, okay, this is your path, this is where you want to go, and you're going to take a particular shape, the profile, and it's going to thread that along this path, dragging that shape all the way along it. Now the important detail about that is that if you're threading a profile, you have to be able to look at it right on the end, and it has to circle around this. There's ways to get around that, but in general, that's the best way to do it. Pick one end, make sure that your profile is made literally right over that end. Now, I drew like this on purpose. I drew in the front plane, I drew it from the origin, because I already got a plane that's perpendicular to that. So now I'm going to exit the sketch, I'm going to go in my right plane, I'm going to sketch a profile. And this profile can be literally anything. Just if you go too crazy, it sometimes gets angry at you because it is algorithmic. I want to choose a hexagon. Okay, so you see I have a path. I have a profile. That profile is circling around my path. And another key detail here is that the path is either going through the profile or it ends in the profile. It has to end in the same plane and be surrounded by the profile, or it has to literally pierce through it. Either way works. One is easier than the other. So this is not the easiest thing to set up, but it's worth it if you can get it to work. Now that I've done that, I go to Features, Swept Boss Base. Now, I'm not going to do a separate video for Swept Cut. It's the same thing, just using, taking away material rather than adding it. So no real changes in settings, just one adds, one takes away. So this is where I'm going to focus. It's going to ask me for two things. It's going to say, okay, sketch profile or circular profile. We'll get to that second option soon, but this one has a sketch profile. First thing I've got to do is tell it what's the profile. I can click on that, this guy right here. Second thing I give it is what's the path. Click on the path. And you can see it automatically made the shape for me, which is great. And what do you see right here? Well, I have a hexagonal shape that all the way along this, it's a hexagon. And it is angling that shape to match my path all the way along it. Guide curves are evil. Just avoid them for now. Later on in your life, you'll probably have to figure out how to use them, and that's going to be a pain, just being honest with you. The biggest issue with it is sometimes these lines get kind of all tangled or they'll get twisted wrong, and you'll need a guide curve to show which way to go. We're not going to deal with that today. Okay, options. This is where you have one different detail. One is profile twist. You can specify a twist value, and you can change how much it's twisting all the way along the line. So I can make this spiral. If I go crazy with this, I can have some really amazing values. Look, it's a cool spiral thing. Woo! There's great uses for it, but just know that's going to change how the end is oriented relative to the beginning. Okay? I would not usually do that with a hexagon, though it looks super cool. It'd probably be more like a square. I'm having to angle it so it's at a different angle to attach to some other piece at the end. Remember, there's always a reason that you're creating this sweep piece. Before it might have been to make a wire. For you, I don't know. Okay, second thing, follow path or keep normal constant. Keep normal constant actually can break. And normally you're going to follow the path. Okay, see it go fat, and now it's thin. What's the difference? In this case, that profile it doesn't follow the path, it just goes along it and it stays the same the entire time. It's the same orientation the entire time. And that's why it gets so skinny right here, because it's a fairly vertical profile, and when it's moving vertically, it gets really, really skinny. If this was perfectly straight up and down, it would go infinitely thin and it would break, which luckily did not break this time. Okay, so those are the first set of options you have for a sweep. The second set is even easier. I love it, it's amazing, because most of the time when you're doing this, it's a circle. Those wires I showed you earlier, they're a circle. So it says like, well, why even have to make a second profile, or make a profile, when you know it's gonna be a circle? Like, I know how circles look, so let's do that one. So Sweat Emboss Base, I go to here, and this one looks like a circular profile. You'll notice that there's no longer a place for me to give a profile, because it knows what the profile is, it's a circle. And you can see that that's the circle right there. All I have to define is what is the diameter, okay? Right there. Scrolling over it, normally it'll say something, this time it's not liking me, so it's not gonna give me an option. By the way, I can set the diameter. And make a pipe. Honestly, use this a lot of times with pipes. Use it a lot of the time when you are making wires or something else for an electrical setup. Very important there. Nobody might use these like with a bicycle. If you're trying to make a bicycle frame, this is great for that. You just draw 3 lines and you can make a nice set of tubes. I can also make this a thin feature. What's a thin feature? We haven't talked about it too much, but a thin feature is simply saying that what I'm making is hollow, and this circle, this profile that I have right here, is simply the edge, and that's all I'm going to be creating. So it's currently 0.0397 thick. I'm going to 0.1, make it thicker. Make it 0.5, make it really thick. And you see that the inner circle is not changing size, only the outer circle is, so it goes out from there. And so I can change this to be however I want it, okay? Once again, a lot of times pipes are hollow, so you would have this, and it would make it easier on you to create something. So Sweep is a magnificent tool. It's for all those cases where you aren't going in a straight line, you're not going in a perfect circle, so you need something in between, and Sweep gives that to you. So use it to your advantage, use it to help you, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.